as often is the case after a Celtics loss, I will usually just open the floor up to you and I will say, CJ, go cook. And I'm going to do that exactly here as well. CJ, what are your takeaways from this Celtics loss?
It is the worst Celtics loss in certainly a couple years. I think that Grant Williams, Jimmy Butler headbutt game is the worst Celtics loss. Like, that's probably worse than this. But besides that, this might be the worst Celtics playoff loss since like the bubble.
Not
It
like
reminded me.
worse than any of the finals losses, or do you mean by loss in terms of blowing it loss?
Blowing it loss.
Okay. Pause.
You know, it was also similar to that Trae Young series against the Hawks, that James Harden game with the Sixers in 2023. It's deeply, deeply, deeply frustrating for me. And I'll start with this, Celtics fans, and you just have to understand this. This is it for this team. This is the last dance for this team. If you've been reading the reporting and you understand how salary cap works, this exact team that won a championship last year, after this year, will never play together again. So I think for me, a fan of this team, someone who loved watching the team last year, that's weighing on me watching this team. This team, in my opinion, can't afford to play with their food with everything that's at stake. And tonight, they absolutely played with their food. 45 missed threes. In the second half, I believe 37 of their 43 shot attempts were threes, or 34 of 41, something like that. They looked slow. They looked uninterested. They settled the entire game, and they went up. OG Anunoby at those back-to-back threes, and I'm watching with Omar, and we just kind of knew, uh-oh. And the Celtics and Joe Mazzulla, this might be the worst coaching game of Mazzulla's career as well, did not make a single in-game adjustment. For some reason, when they needed buckets, they went away from Peyton Pritchard, which I thought was odd. They completely fell asleep at the wheel. Kristaps Porzingis, who, I'm sorry, is getting closer and closer just playing his way out of Boston. You cannot miss a game in the playoffs because you're sick. I don't care if you're shitting your fucking pants. You can't do that. And by the way he played against the Magic, how he looked when he wasn't shitting his pants or whatever was going on in the first half, he is not playable. Sam Hauser, who went out with an ankle injury, he is not playable. And what happened? The Knicks were allowed to keep their bigs at home. They clogged the paint. The Celtics ran no sets. They settled for threes. They couldn't hit the backside of a barn, whatever that stupid fucking expression is. They were horrible. Jaylen Brown was horrible. Jason Tatum was horrible. Jaylen Brown is hurt. That is clear as day to me. He has no lift. He has no burst, but he thinks he still does. He is injured. Jason Tatum looked unbelievable in the first quarter. I don't know what happened the rest of the way. Took so many pull-up threes, was horrific. Derek White was horrific. Drew Holiday was horrific. Al Horford was horrific. And yet somehow they got this thing to overtime. So if you want to take solace in that, okay. For the Knicks, Jalen Brunson was not that good. I know Knicks fans are like, oh! He was pretty horrific besides those 2 threes, which, by the way, didn't matter because the Celtics forced overtime after he missed that layup. Cat was horrible. OG Anunoby was good. Josh Hart was fouling every possession but not getting whistles. And Mikal Bridges made that play down the stretch, and that was that. Here's the deal. I'll wrap it up here. I was really angry after the game, and I've calmed down a little bit. But Celtics killed the Knicks all year, 4-0. Obviously, the Knicks were going to come in hungry, and they played harder than the Celtics. Joe Mazzulla needs to figure it out. We're going to talk about Cleveland in a second. Cleveland has injury problems. But the Celtics are kind of right there. You have shitty Kristaps. Hauser's ankle's gone. Brown has a knee problem. Let's not forget Tatum's wrist. Your team's banged up, and you had no spark. So if Joe Mazzulla doesn't drop in Game 2, I can't believe I'm saying this, into the rotation, a Baylor Shireman, a Jordan Walsh, or a Torrey Craig, somebody who can give you some fucking life and energy, then he's just asking to lose in 5 like the Lakers did to the Timberwolves. That is what we're looking at if this play keeps up. I know people are going to say, oh, if a few more threes went in. I don't care. Like, Orlando took away the 3-ball. Obviously, New York was going to give the Celtics the 3-ball back. That's how they play defense. And the Celtics just bought it. Just fucking bought it. Not a single in-game adjustment, nothing. The Knicks didn't even play good. The Knicks did not even play good basketball. It's just the Celtics were so horrible and bad. And I thought after last year's title run, that type of game we left in the dust. And clearly I was wrong about that. They're so bad at home. They were so lazy tonight, and the time off really showed. So I know Celtics fans are like, it was always going to be a gentleman's sweep. If the Knicks are not going to change anything from Game 2 defensively, like that's not how Tibbs rolls. The Celtics need to make adjustments, or this thing's going to get ugly fast. It will. Like, the Knicks want it way more. It's really one of the worst losses I've watched in some time. It was an unbearably bad basketball game to watch. Joe Mazzulla, be the coach and do something, man. And Tatum, I'm sorry, last thing about Tatum, it's my guy. If Jalen Brunson is guarding you, go to the rim. Go to the rim. If Mitchell Robinson is on you, draw a foul. The Celtics just got away from everything in the second half. They've had games like that this year. Unfortunately, that bad stretch they had in January looked like how they played tonight. They better shake this thing off or they're fucking toast.
That's the thing that I would say. I don't even think they were that great in the first half. Cat was just in foul trouble. They were barbecuing him in the pick and roll. He looked unplayable. And Tatum got off to a fantastic start. But after the Knicks started to punch back, I believe the lead was 20 at its highest point.
5:30.
And once the Knicks started to punch back, and OG hit a couple of shots, and you're like, oh, is this going to become a game here? The Celtics just didn't fight back. You're completely right about the settling, I guess Derek White's just going to take another wing 3 instead of, hey.
In transition.
Hey, I know Joe Mazzulla, similarly to Tibbs, is not exactly the greatest adjuster in the world. He's a guy who is very stuck in his ways about how to play the game, and he likes shooting a lot of threes. They jacked up 60 of them. As you said, oh yeah, a couple more threes go in, different ball game. But they still made 15 threes. That is not a small number of threes. 15 threes is still a lot. So you knock down 15 threes, which is not necessarily out of the norm for a team like this. You just did not step on their neck when you could have, and you should have. You could have seen the Knicks starting a run and say, oh, maybe we should just try and get a couple easy ones. Jason, put your head down, get to the basket, or get fouled. Mitchell Robinson was committing a bunch of fouls. Just do that. Just do that. However, they decided to stick with what they know. Swing, three-pointer. Swing, Jaylen Brown mid-range shot. As you had said.
Well, if I may, real quick, like, you're right, and the pundits are going to say that tomorrow. When the three's not falling, they can't win. They just beat the Magic not shooting threes. So them being like, they don't know how to do, they just came off a series where they couldn't get threes. So as a coach, I would hope, man, this shit's not falling. Let's run some of the sets from the Orlando series where, guys are getting to the rim. There's backdoor cuts. There's ball movement. It's not like it's not in their playbook. They ran those plays to beat the Magic in the last series. They just settled. It was the grossest basketball. And I'll say this. The Knicks also settled down the stretch. When Brunson came in, I know he hit those 2 shots and everybody was like, God! And he was cooking Al Horford, which it took them way too long to figure out that we can't just switch Al Horford onto Brunson every time. But the Knicks get stuck in the mud with the Brunson ISO as well. I'm sorry, they do. So you have one team running ISO through one guy and one team shooting threes the whole time. It's some of the worst basketball from just a purist standpoint I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Aesthetically, definitely one of the weaker playoff games I've watched, particularly that first half where there were,
and then the
27
God.
fouls in the first half, just
Horrible.
whistle after whistle after whistle. Truly a miserable watching experience. I did want to echo what you said about Jaylen Brown, though. There is a level of his athleticism that he doesn't have right now.
Nope.
He was always a very, very good athlete, not Amen Thompson level, but he was always very, very highly regarded, like 85th percentile athlete. He doesn't look like that right now. He's not moving like that right now. And that is a key part to his game, his physicality, his athleticism. If he doesn't have that, he's not obscenely skilled. He's not Kyrie Irving. He's not the kind of guy who's going to make incredibly tough shot after incredibly tough shot. Wow, I don't know what kind of New York accent just came out of it. Goodness.
Wowzer.
But yeah, I think the Celtics have some real stuff to worry about. Independent of Kristaps being hurt all the time and apparently sick in this game, he has been bad in the playoffs. Yeah. Kristaps has not played well. He had, two missed absolute bunnies at the rim in that second quarter?
But again, Hen, it's just what I said about the Magic thing, where the Celtics don't need the threes to go down to win games.
Yeah,
they don't need Kristaps to win games. They have sets without him. That's what I can't get. People are like, Kristaps been pretty bad. They don't look as good. They won the championship mostly without him. So this isn't like a newfound thing, like, oh my God, our center's shitting his pants. What do we do? But for some reason in these games, it's just them and Missoula that are just like, they've won without him. They've won without taking threes. I'm getting frustrated again. I said I wasn't going to get frustrated. I apologize.
No, you're totally allowed to get frustrated. You lost a game one. And this doesn't change my outlook of the series. I still lean the Celtics. I still think they're going to win it. But they showcased a lot of their, as you said, pre-championship tendencies.
Yep.
The offense getting stuck in the mud. The Jason Tatum, why the hell did you settle for that step back three in that situation? There was 8 seconds on the shot clock. Those tendencies that kept popping up in big game after big game for them from the bubble up until when they won the title. That one offensive hurdle that you thought, are they ever going to get over it? And they did last year. That kind of crept back in this game in that second half. As the Knicks pushed and didn't give up, and credit to them, they could have. They didn't. The Celtics just fell into that malaise that affected them for 3 to 4 years before they finally got to the top of the mountain. And it's mildly concerning. You have to say it's mildly concerning, especially the game's at halftime now. When you look at what Oklahoma's, if you could get past the Knicks and then get past the Cavs or maybe the Pacers, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Oklahoma City looks like an absolute buzzsaw right now. And you can't afford to have a game like this against Oklahoma City, because if you play a game like you played this second half, you're going to get run out of the gym.
Well, and frankly, Henry, that was the game that it reminded me of was when the Celtics were in Oklahoma City beating the Thunder and then just put up like 9 points in a quarter, and that was that. It reminded me exactly of
the
that.
Thunder ended up winning by like 17 or something like that.
I think it was like 11. It was like just the Celtics are like I have the Celtics winning in 6. I don't like when my team loses game ones of playoff series. Fortunately for me, I've seen the Celtics lose in the years of us doing our podcast. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen them lose like 4 game ones in the playoffs. So
it happens. It happens. Plenty of championship teams have lost game ones before. I did want to say one more thing,
please,
really briefly. When you beat a team 4 times in a row, hell yeah, they're going to come into that next performance absolutely jacked up and saying, these guys aren't going to beat us 5 times in a row. And I think that's part of the reason why the Knicks had that resolve and had that fight in them going down the stretch.
Yeah, the Knicks guys made plays. I don't think a single guy on the Celtics made a play tonight. Really, you could think about it like
Especially no in the second half, I would probably agree with you.
not a single guy made a play tonight. So you just got to bounce back. I know Knicks fans are excited. Listen, I said in my JMO video, now the challenges begin. Lock the fuck in.